Imagine a world where myths from long ago come true, where the secrets of history are uncovered in the most unexpected places. Welcome to the mysterious site where the Euphrates River once flowed, but now something extraordinary has emerged from the parched riverbed, a sight so stunning it has left experts baffled and visitors in awe. Join us on an unforgettable journey as we explore the golden mountains that appeared after the dried-up Euphrates River. You won't believe your eyes. The Tigris is the other big river that defines Mesopotamia. The Euphrates is the westernmost of the two. In the Bible, God promised the Promised Land to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their descendants. This river is part of the Promised Land. Etymology: the name Euphrates may have come from the Old Persian word Euphratu, or from the Avestan word Huperuthua, which means good to cross. Some people also think that the name Euphrates come from the Kurdish language. In Kurdish, wide is fair, flowing water is ri, and flowing is hat, so wide flowing water is Fererahat. Ferat, which is a modern Kurdish name, may be a shortened version of a longer name. But the Indo-European origin of the name is called into question by the fact that the Sumerian and Akkadian names for the Euphrates are Buranun and Puratu, respectively, and that Buranun is mentioned in an inscription about King Gudea. It seems likely, then, that the Old Persian name came from the river's name before it was called Iran. The Euphrates River brought water to Sumer, where the first civilization grew about 3000 BC. Mari, Sippar, Nippur, Shuruppak, Uruk, Ur, and Eridu were all important ancient cities on or near the river. The length of the river is about 1,730 miles. It is made when the Kara, the western Euphrates, and the Murat, the eastern Euphrates, meet. The Kara comes from the Armenian highlands in what is now eastern Turkey, north of Erzurum, and the Murat comes from an area southwest of Mount Ararat and north of Lake Van. The upper Euphrates flows through steep canyons and gorges, then to the southeast across Syria and into Iraq. In eastern Syria, the Kabur and Balik rivers flow into the Euphrates. Both of these rivers start in Turkey. Downstream, along the whole length of the river, no more water flows into the Euphrates. In southern Iraq, north of Basra, the river joins with the Tigris to make the Arvan Shat al-Arab. The Arvan Shat al-Arab then flows into the Persian Gulf. The river used to split into many channels at Basra, making a large marshland. In the 1990s, Saddam Hussein's government drained most of the marshes to get rid of the rebellious Marsh Arabs. Since the invasion of Iraq in 2003, the drainage policy has been changed, but it's still not clear if the marshes will get better. Only boats with a very shallow drift can travel on the Euphrates. These boats can go as far upstream as the Iraqi city of Hit, which is 1,930 kilometers away and only 53 meters above sea level. Above Hit, however, the river can't be used for business because of rocks and rapids. It floods every year when the snow melts in the mountains of northeastern Turkey. New dams and reservoirs in the upper reaches have helped stop some of the floodings. Between the Euphrates and the Tigris is an 885-kilometer-long canal that river barges can use. Genesis 2:14 says that 4 rivers flow out of the Garden of Eden. One of them is called Euphrates. It is the 4th river to form from the river that flows out of the garden. The Pishon, the Gihon, and the Tigris came before it. The same named river was one of the borders of the land God gave to Abraham and his children. It is often just called the river in the Hebrew Bible. The word gush forth or break forth is the same as the word Euphrates. People have always thought it meant river, but it doesn't say that. Literally, it means liquid coming out. The name of the river Euphrates comes from this root word, which means to flow out. In the book of Revelation, it says that in the near future, the Potamos Euphrates, which flows through the Middle East and means breaking forth like water, will dry up before the battle of Armageddon. So what do the prophecies of Islam say? Some of the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, which are called hadiths in Islam, say that the Euphrates will dry up, revealing undiscovered treasures that will lead to fighting and strife. Soon the river Euphrates will reveal the mountain of gold treasure. At that time, anyone who is there should not take anything from it. Sahih Bukhari. In Quran 18:15, the hour will not come until the river Euphrates dries up and shows the mountain of gold, for which people will fight, said the Prophet Muhammad. In the fighting, 99 out of 100 people will die, and each man will think, I might be the only one left alive. Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. The Euphrates shows the treasure it holds, said the Prophet Muhammad. Al-Mutaki al-Hindi, Al-Burnan fi Alamat al-Mahdi Akhir al-Zaman, page 28, Sunan Abi Dawood. The Euphrates River's waters are beginning to recede. Hydroelectric plants in upstream Turkey and Iran have begun suffocating the rivers that have for millennia functioned as the lungs of the heartland of Mesopotamia. The thousands of Iraqis who make their homes along the banks of these historic rivers are in danger of having their way of life upended by the combination of seasonal droughts and ineffective management practices. This region is particularly sensitive to the effects of climate change. According to research, precipitation in Iraq will decline by 15 to 20% this century, which would result in a reduction of up to 73% in the volume of water found in the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Because of the decline in water levels, salty tides from the Persian Gulf are making their way into river deltas, where they are contaminating fields of barley and wheat and killing cattle. The farmers are seeing their means of subsistence disappear. They are forced to either give up their land, sell their malnourished cattle at marked-down rates, and migrate to the city, or they can wait for a reaction from the government, which has so far shown to be unimpressive. The challenges on the periphery are consistently ignored as a result of the acrimonious political conflicts taking place in Baghdad. The Hadith may have been wrong about there being a mountain of riches buried beneath the Euphrates, but the struggle that it foretold is taking on a new significance as drought floods the cities with refugees. It is difficult to obtain accurate data regarding the displacement because many newcomers to cities choose to remain anonymous. Yet, reports from the ground find that new social tensions are rising up between city locals and rural transplants. Plastic shanty towns have appeared on the outskirts of the city of Basra in the south of Iraq, as refugees who are looking to find work in the city cluster around the city's perimeter. It may take some time for newcomers to become acclimated to this reality, which is that their jobs are typically transient, consisting of either driving a truck or working in the construction industry, and are sometimes insufficient to meet their requirements. The locals of Basra feel that the newcomers are a burden on public resources and that they bring with them criminal activity and customs that are incompatible with their own. Worst yet, municipal officials point to the increased influx of migrants to explain their political failings, refusing to fully integrate them and thereby increasing the tensions that are already present. The newcomers in southern Iraqi cities are the ones who are held responsible if there are power outages or fuel shortages. There are no indications that the refugee situation will abate anytime soon. It is estimated that 85 miles of the riverbank are now practically barren due to the gradual ascent in salinity that is occurring further north from the Gulf of Mexico. And despite the fact that the problem in southern Iraq is very severe at the moment, climate experts are warning that the crisis is only a signal of what is to come in the future. Aid organizations estimate that within the next 12 months, 12 million people in Iraq and Syria will no longer have access to food, water, or energy. An even more severe refugee catastrophe is brewing in Egypt, which has a population that is approximately 2.5 times as large as that of Iraq. On a significant tributary that flows into the Nile, the neighboring countries of Ethiopia and Sudan are finishing up the construction of a huge hydroelectric project. And if the findings of an Egyptian scientific survey are to be believed, the project could lead to the destruction of 75% of Egypt's fish farms, which would result in the relocation of approximately 30 million people, making it the largest refugee crisis in the history of the world. But even if the project were to be cancelled, Egypt would still face the same challenges as the majority of the other countries in the region, which are a growing population and a drying up of the environment. The devastation will undoubtedly be slowed down by mediating water sharing procedures, but essentially, a durable solution requires much more than merely collaboration among Middle Eastern neighbors. While wars and elections dominate the news cycle, our global economy is becoming more reliant on fossil fuels like oil and natural gas, and the window of opportunity to turn things around is rapidly closing. Even while it may begin as a drought, there can be no doubt that one of the knock-on effects of climate change will be widespread distribution to social and cultural norms. An early stage of this climate-induced instability can be seen in Iraq's troubled social fabric. When it comes down to it, though, those who are in a dire situation will do whatever it takes to provide for their loved ones. ISIS has preyed on the victims of poor harvests and starvation for the better part of the past decade and a half, promising them quick cash and protection when governments are unable to provide either. It is not a stretch of the imagination to believe that other terrorist groups might act in the same manner. When there is a drought, it is inevitable that there will be displacement, tension, criminal activity, and recruitment. Hence, it is possible that the riverbanks that saw the beginning of civilization 8,000 years ago are today indicating the beginning stages of a collapse. This would be an ironic turn of events. At last, what do the controversial issues say? As with the Tigris, there is a lot of disagreement about who has the right to use the river and how it should be used. The Southeastern Anatolia project in Turkey involves building 22 dams and 19 power plants by 2005. It is the biggest development project Turkey has ever done. The first of the dams was finished in 1990. Southeast Turkey is still struggling economically, which makes the Kurdish minority there even more unhappy. In Syria, the Tabaka Dam, which was finished in 1973 and is sometimes called the Euphrates Dam, makes Lake Assad, which is used to water cotton crops. Syria has also dammed 2 of its tributaries and is building a 3rd dam. Iraq has 7 dams, but water control was not a top priority under Saddam Hussein. Since the fall of Baath, Iraq in 2003, however, water use has once again become a top priority. Thank you for watching. We hope you were as amazed and moved by this amazing find as we were. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more cool things and exciting adventures. And as always, keep looking around and finding out more about the world.